The 2023 quarterback class truly had it all. An all-time rookie season from CJ Stroud and an early bust status for Bryce Young seemed to set the two first selections on completely different paths, only for them to realign much closer in 2024. The top four quarterbacks in the 2023 class have seen ups, downs, highlight reel plays, and several embarrassing memes, but how many of their teams are still happy with their selections? Well, in today's video, we're going to go over the 2023 quarterback class and see how they're doing 2 years later. Now, the first quarterback off the board in 2023 was Bryce Young, who went to the Carolina Panthers. It was initially the Chicago Bears who held the first overall selection, but they gave it up to Carolina in exchange for the 9th overall pick, a second rounder, another first rounder in 2024, and a second rounder in 2025, in addition to the talented wide receiver in DJ Moore. And I mean, at the time too, the luxury of being able to pick whatever quarterback they had wanted to pick from the 2023 draft class did seem pretty nice. The problem with this trade that I seem to have, and that pretty much I think everybody in the league, and if you're an NFL fan, I think has with this trade, is, well, they also got rid of their best wide receiver who their rookie quarterback they were going to draft was going to throw to. So now they had no weapons for their rookie quarterback. It made no sense. Like, I mean, adjusting to the NFL is never easy for a rookie quarterback, but it's not going to be any easier when you don't have a star wide receiver to bail you out when your offensive line stinks like the Panthers did. And I mean, Bryce Young learned that pretty quickly as he turned in a simply disastrous rookie campaign. The Panthers enjoyed just 2 wins all year long, earning a first overall draft selection in 2024 that they wouldn't even get to use as they had traded to Chicago 1 year earlier for the ability to select Young. His 59.8% completion rate led to just 2,877 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, which rounded out to a 34.1 quarterback rating, the second lowest among quarterbacks, ahead of only Zach Wilson. Like, I mean, that's not what you want from your first round pick, and not helped by the fact that he also took the most sacks in the NFL that year with 62. To make matters worse though, the quarterback selected right after him in CJ Stroud went on to win Rookie of the Year that year, as well as help his team get to the playoffs and win a wildcard game, but we're going to go over him in just a second. Because I mean, by the end of the 2023 season, there were few people who really believed in Bryce Young that he was the right #1 pick, and his career was all but written off once he was benched 2 games into the 2024 season, looking even more lost than before. I mean, the Panthers had upgraded the O-line, brought in some playmakers in free agency and the draft, and partnered Bryce Young up with a quarterback whisperer head coach in Dave Canales, but he still looked completely lost. That wasn't until Bryce Young was thrust back into the lineup in week 8 of the 2024 season. I mean, honestly, it was probably good that he wasn't in the spotlight for those weeks, and honestly just looked like an unrecognizable player and just so much better. I mean, in fact, you could even say he was recognizable, but not to the Young we had become accustomed to know in Carolina, but the one that made him the first overall pick in Alabama. He was far more confident in the pocket, holding his own against a talented Denver and Kansas City defense before putting on an absolute clinic in Week 18 against Atlanta. In posting 275 yards and 5 total touchdowns against the Falcons, Young officially confirmed the completion of his turnaround process. He brought together all of the glimpses of quality that had become more and more frequent throughout the 2024 season, culminating in a sensational performance in which he put the team on his back and earned a clutch in-division overtime win by 44 to 38 points. I mean, truthfully, Bryce Young may only be 6-22 as a starter, but there's little to no doubt that now he is the future of the Panthers at the quarterback position. He's proven everybody wrong, and his stat line should be even better this upcoming year. His teammates let him down with several key drops on incredible plays by Young, most notably a drop by Xavier Legette that could have given Bryce Young a 4th quarter comeback victory over an NFL contender in the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, the fact of the matter is that he's showing more trust in his offensive line, and with some more playmakers coming in around him, Young could possibly be an absolute problem for the NFL in Carolina. Like, I mean, his rebound was one of the best stories of the 2024 season, and it will be fascinating to see if he can continue this in 2025, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comment section. Next up, we have CJ Stroud, who was taken 2nd overall by the Houston Texans. And I mean, honestly, in many ways, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young careers are going to be tied for the rest of their time in the NFL. So, I mean, with that being said, it's pretty much perfect, or at least the scriptwriters in the NFL wrote it perfect, that their careers were just polar opposites. You see, whereas Bryce Young started awfully and recovered strongly, Stroud hit the ground running before stumbling in his sophomore year. Stroud joined a strong roster, but not exactly the one littered with much talent. There were question marks surrounding the offensive line, not much at running back, and a wide receiver room led by Nico, who had never posted more than 500 yards in a season. Nevertheless, though, Stroud came in and lifted everyone's game up a notch, which is the truest sign of an elite quarterback. Like, I mean, hell, Nico immediately became a top 5 receiver, just shy of 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns, and Tank Dell emerged as a very exciting secondary option before he suffered a season-ending injury. Dalton Schultz also chipped in with a useful 635 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Stroud was even able to utilize the likes of Noah Brown and Robert Woods, who both had over 400 yards each. I mean, Stroud's game truly had it all as a rookie, looking calm, confident, and in the pocket, making throws on the run, and even protecting the ball so well. His 4,108 yards, 23 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions made him an easy choice for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and was also good enough to make the Texans surprise winners in the AFC South just 1 year after coming in last with a 3-win record. Stroud celebrated that by dishing out a wildcard round hammering of the Cleveland Browns, in which he completed 76% of his passes for 274 yards and 3 touchdowns, before losing to a superior Ravens team in the divisional round. Nevertheless, though, it was an epic season that featured several broken records, including most yards and touchdowns in a single game against Tampa Bay, with 470 and 5 touchdowns. I mean, even after that season he put up 2, the consensus was pretty much that Stroud should have gone first overall in the 2023 draft. Not only that too, but even coming into this season, many people had high hopes of CJ Stroud probably, taking over. Even people had them going to the Super Bowl, especially after they had signed Joe Mixon and traded for Stephon Diggs this year. Unfortunately though, CJ Stroud had a sophomore slump, and really it didn't pan out for any of those Houston hopes. With the expectations now far higher, the Texans took a step back, and CJ Stroud experienced somewhat of a sophomore slump, seeing his yardage and touchdown totals dip to 3,727 yards and 20 touchdowns, and his interceptions increase on year to year from 5 to 12. Just as Bryce Young was rebounding, CJ Stroud was faltering. Not to mention that his life was also made harder because of injuries and poor O-line play, and this time it was his turn to rank second in the league with sacks with 52. Stroud was noticeably just overthinking things, not trusting his protection, and delivering on wayward passes, resulting in no games with over 300 yards passing after week 5 of the 2024 season. Nevertheless, though, he has never fell to the level of Bryce Young's rookie season, still ranked 11th in PFF's big-time throws, and with the help of a good defense, the Texans once again won the division, and then Stroud delivered his second wildcard round victory in as many years, proving his capability on the big stage and setting up a divisional round date with the Chiefs. It's definitely evident that Stroud is very talented at the quarterback position, and with a more settled offensive line, healthy weapons, and better offensive play calling, he should be able to continue delivering at a very high level for years to come, making the Texans a serious contender in the AFC. He is still the obvious choice if there was a redraft in 2023, although Bryce Young is now much closer behind him than as we enter the 2025 season. Now, after the success stories of those two quarterbacks though, it's time to turn our attention to some more negative selections that were taken in this draft. Starting with Anthony Richardson, he was just a thrilling draft prospect, offering a rare combination of size and speed never seen before at the quarterback position. Therefore, despite only starting 13 games at college, in which he completed just 54.7% of his passes, the former Florida Gator was selected 4th overall by the Colts. Truthfully, this dude is just the biggest boom or bust prospect we probably have seen at the quarterback position in a while, and his rookie season reflected that perfectly. He showed off his powerful arm in week 1 against Jacksonville before rushing in 2 early touchdowns the following week against Houston to really give fans a glimpse of his upside. The only problem was, though, that he had to leave that Houston game early with a concussion, which kickstarted a trend that has stuck with him ever since. Richardson would only be able to return for a quarter and a half in his rookie season before suffering another injury that ruled him out for the rest of the year. This meant that his evaluation process was essentially put on pause until the 2024 season, in which he managed to only play in 11 games because of yet more injuries. He also made headlines for all the wrong reasons by tapping himself out in a game against Houston, with the team facing a 3rd and goal. And the durability concerns and lack of leadership are significant red flags from Richardson's first 2 years in Indy, but the bigger problem is his accuracy. His 47.7% completion rate in 2024 is just simply not viable in the league. That's telling the story of a quarterback who is frequently misreading coverages and missing even the easiest passing options that were served up to him. This led to just 1,814 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, which worked out to a passer rating of just 61.6, which was lower than every other quarterback in 2024 that started 10 or more games. For context, even Deshaun Watson ranked considerably higher, posting a passer rating of 79 from his 7 games played. Truthfully, the Colts are just in a tough position right now with Anthony Richardson. Nothing has been shown on tape so far that suggests that he can survive in the NFL as a passer, but they feel kind of obligated to give him another shot and try to make it work. We have to remember too that this guy has only started 28 games across his entire college and pro career, and his physical skill set is truly rare. Unfortunately though, it could be all for nothing though if he can't prove that he can stay healthy. Now, the fourth quarterback taken in the 2023 NFL Draft was Will Levis, who went 33rd overall to the Tennessee Titans. After starting the 2023 season on the bench, Levis was given the opportunity to start when Ryan Tannehill was sidelined with an injury. Titan fans could not believe what they were witnessing. In his debut, the Titans rookie quarterback dished out 238 yards and 4 touchdowns in a 28-23 win over the Falcons, earning a passer rating of 130.5. For a brief moment, the second rounder looked like the steal of the draft before contributing 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 8 sacks over the following 2 weeks, which were both losses. Truthfully, there were way more downs than ups throughout the remainder of Will Levis's rookie season, but the lackluster offensive line and lack of playmakers earned him some benefit of the doubt. So coming into this season with a newly acquired Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard joining the team, along with some reinforcements on the O-line, there was optimism that Levis could make the leap in 2024, but spoiler alert, he didn't. Tennessee lost each of their first 3 games, and Levis threw 5 interceptions during that stretch. In the process, he became more well known for embarrassing memes than he did for big plays, with the sophomore quarterback contributing to some truly mind-boggling errors. From catastrophic interceptions to unthinkable fumbles, Will Levis was a liability for the Titans, leading head coach Brian Callahan to bench him in Week 15 against the Bengals, a game in which he threw just 89 yards and 3 interceptions. Mason Rudolph took over in that game and for the next 2 until the Bears finally split reps in the finale. In his last taste of action in 2024 and perhaps his final chance to prove him to the team that he could even play, Levis completed 52.9% of his passes for 175 yards and 1 touchdown. Honestly, as things stand right now, with the Titans earning the first overall pick thanks to their 3-14 record, it's really hard to see them sticking with Levis into the 2025 season. I truly do think that they're either going to take Cam Ward or Sanders and hopefully turn a page to a new, better era of Titans football. And if you want to see the 13 wide receivers taken before Nico Collins, then click this video right here.